Joining me now is a politician, you might say is representative of that wing of the party, maybe the Trump skeptic wing of the Republican Party. It's Ohio Governor John Kasich. He, by the way, represented Ohio's 12th District in Congress for 9 terms. Governor Kasich, good to see you, sir.
Yeah, I also, as governor, had a win in those areas,
yes, you did
too.
that. So you don't miss any of your victories.
Wait a minute, I'm not some Chamber of Commerce type. Look, I'm a positive populist. And,
I know you are.
Yeah, I heard you say that. I mean, come on. Don't be defining me that way.
No. But let me ask you this. There's obviously a slice of the Republican Party you speak to better than Donald Trump does. And it's this slice of the Republican Party that seems to be wavering on him. Is that a fair statement?
Well, Chuck, there's no question that people sent a message to the party, to Republicans, that knock it off. The chaos, the divisions. I mean, kids being separated from their parents at the border, these crazy tariffs. Hey, we're going to take your health care. We're going to kill Obamacare, which means you're not going to have any health care. Or, you know, if you have a pre-existing condition, well, you know, you might be out of luck. I mean, this is kind of what gets communicated. And what's happened here, I cannot describe to you how amazing it was that the race was close. Because this Delaware County, for example,
I look at Columbus.
I mean, a Republican in Delaware County, would normally get about 70% of the vote. This was like 50-50. And so if you look at how Donald Trump did in the general in Delaware County, he probably got around, I don't know, 65 or 70. But then this candidate gets 50%. And it's because, look, a lot of Republican women, they don't like this noise. They don't like this division. And it was interesting what one of your panelists said about the Democrat candidate. I mean, he was not that forceful. He was just not. Right. Neither of them really emerged great, and I think it was basically a vote on what people thought about Trump.
That's interesting you say that. You think it's fair to I've been telling people that you could characterize this race. This is no personal knock against either candidate, but that many voters saw it as generic Democrat versus generic Republican. Is that a fair assessment in your view?
Well, I don't know what that means, Chuck, but here's what I do know. I know that in areas, suburbs particularly, where Republicans would win, the Republican lost. I know that there were these Republican women that I've heard talking whenever I'm out and about. They just were either not going to vote or they were going to vote for Democrat. I mean, we may be in the beginning of entering, in some ways, a post-partisan environment where people are going to stop listening so much to the party and start taking the measure of what they're seeing. I mean, it's a really interesting time. But if you're not positive, if you don't have a vision, if you don't unite people, if you don't lift people, and you're not an idea candidate, you're going to struggle and maybe lose.
You, on another Sunday show, a fine broadcast, you made mention, you said you had a conversation with Troy Balderson going, why did you ask President Trump to come in? And then you said he didn't. Where do you fall? Do you think President Trump's appearance on Saturday helped O'Connor, helped Balderson, or was it already baked in?
You know what I think, Chuck, is I think the attention of the national media got more people to vote. I think that happened. I think that the fact that there was
left
a focus,
or right?
Because I was
Do you know which way? Do you know which way?
No, I think it just got people. But you see, again, there were people who voted for Trump who now are either not voting or voting for the Democrat, or, you know, you have some of these Democrats who kind of supported Trump who kind of go back to their party, I think, here. But this was so close and so stunningly close in a district. Look, the congressman that was there before it in the last election won by 17 points.
Yeah.
And this is a more and more Republican district when I had it, much more Republican. And it just, you know, even in a special election, there were more votes in this special election than people had anticipated. But again, here's the challenge for the Republicans. If you are losing college-educated women, if you are losing millennials, if you're losing minorities because you're not getting much of that vote at all, you got a problem. The Democrat problem? The question is they need to be more center-left. They're way out on the left. Now, this guy wasn't. This guy who ran here wasn't. And it's going to be a signal to other Democrats about he was more moderate. But
let me ask you this. It seems like
let
me ask you this. It seems like some Republicans simply because of the makeup of their district. And I think that this district proved extra challenging to Mr. Balderson, which is to appeal to the Trump base, to get them fired up, you actually turn off the Delaware County suburban voter, and to convince them to come to you, you might turn off the Trump base. Is that what the president's created here, where you have where a candidate has to make this basically impossible choice?
Okay, Chuck, if you're going to be a candidate, why don't you figure out what you're for? Let's not do all these calculations like you're in a laboratory and you got these test tubes, and if I dump one in the other, figure out what you are for. And if that doesn't work, why do you want to win? I mean, why would you run if you don't have a passion for what you want to accomplish? And so, you know, my advice to candidates, I had a Democrat come in to see me the other day. He said, what do you think I should do? I said, well, you have to be mindful of your base, but make sure that Republicans and independents have respect for you and that they can like you. And that means you conduct yourself in a different way than if you're just reporting to the party apparatus. Forget it. I've never done that. You know, look, in my reelection, Chuck, I never attacked Barack Obama. I talked about health care. I talked about job growth. I won 86 out of 88 counties in this state. So that's the message for politicians and me is be yourself, have a vision, say what it is.
Let me ask you this.
And try to be in touch with people.
You're not afraid of saying when you disagree with the president, and you're pretty tough on him. You're pretty tough on it, on sort of the environment that's been created right now because of some of his policy choices.
That's why I didn't endorse him, because of the negativity.
Many Republicans are afraid of making that contrast. Do you think that is making it, that is why this swing suburban voter is hesitant to trust a Republican candidate for Congress, that they're not afraid to say about the president's policies what you're doing?
Yeah, but I think they should stay away from personality. This is not about attacking, you know, the president's first personality. This is about issues. I mean, what I don't understand is if you're a Republican, why aren't you standing up and saying, if you have a pre-existing condition on health care, we're going to make sure you're able to get health care? I mean, if the president says no, why are you putting up with that? When you see family separation at the border, why don't you say it's wrong and these tariffs? Or when we're overseas and we're into this, you know, wrecking ball foreign policy, just say you don't agree with it. If people don't like it, first of all, you know, I don't believe you got to cater to anybody to win. I think you got to be who you are and say what you believe. And Chuck, if you don't win, guess what? You'll have a better life than if you do.
There is life after politics. You've pulled it off once. Before I let you go, your beloved Ohio State University is in a tough position right now. There's a sexual abuse investigation involving the wrestling program, the Urban Meyer situation, where it is, did he do enough looking out for somebody who's a victim of spousal abuse? Do you think there's a cultural problem in the Ohio State athletic program?
Well, first of all, let's find out what we know about Coach Meyer. And they now have Mary Jo White, is my understanding. I haven't studied this in depth.
Do you have confidence that this investigation will be fair?
Oh, in terms of Urban Meyer, the answer is yes. Now, the wrestling problem and the diving problem, Chuck, it was at least a year, maybe 2 years ago, when I asked my people to make sure that in a university that students have a place to go that is confidential when they can report either an assault on them because they may want to think about prosecuting a little bit further down the road, or a place that they can go where they can blow the whistle, where they can have confidentiality. And we have asked the universities to be able to set this up. Many of them are moving that direction. Not all of them are where we want them to be. But this has been an issue across this country for a significant period of time, and the universities have to make this a priority. I've got 2 daughters getting ready to go to college here, one we take on Sunday and one 3 weeks later. I want them to know where they can go and they can report and they can be safe and they will not be compromised. This has to happen all over the country.
Would you feel comfortable if your daughters were starting in a sporting program, at Ohio State's athletic program, that they wouldn't be mistreated?
Sure, I would. Sure, I would. I am confident in that. But everybody needs to up it. Everybody needs to look at it, and you need to examine it. And that's what we're trying to get them to do more aggressively across the state. It ought to be done across the country.
All right, Governor Kasich, I appreciate you making time for me today. Post-election, I have a feeling we'll be talking very soon again, sir. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.